here we go again. Welcome one and all to sunny Eldon and another Total War Rome 2 siege battle. My name is Kander, and as always, get yourself ready for a competitive siege filled with cinematic scenes, clashing armies, close-up artillery shots, brutal charges, useful Rome 2 tips and tricks, and commentary and tactical analysis. Word of advice: get yourself ready for quite the sally out in this one, and don't miss the extremely close and volatile ending of this battle. I hope you enjoy. Give a thumbs up if you do. Alright, let's take a look at the army, starting with Epirus, commanded by Dire Avenger, bringing 5 Royal Peltasts, 3 Samnites, 3 Cretans, and a giant ballista. Dire is a patient player who will need to protect his elites in this battle. Carthage, commanded by the Stuff, bringing a Libyan infantry corps, joined by a bunch of Gaelic warriors, 3 Cretans and 1 Balearic as range, an African pike, and a Carthaginian cav and general. Rome, commanded by Miles, brings 5 Evocati cohorts, 6 Legionary cohorts, 3 Astati, 3 Syrian archers, usually in a very aggressive player, so let's see how this goes with the Roman might. And then we got Defenders in Bactria, commanded by Poppy, with a Thorax sword corps, 3 Syrians and 1 Persian light archer. This is a player who loves selling out some good old cav, so he has some deep route, a Bactrian noble cav joined by a very heavy Hellenic cataphract. Odrissia, commanded by Mr. Stick, 4 Thracian Nobles, 6 Thracian Warriors, 4 Thracian Bowmen, 2 Thracian Horsemen, and 1 Scorpion to boot. Finally, we got Pontus, commanded by Joseph, with the Pontic Swords Corps, joined by 2 Gaelic warriors, 1 Thracian Spears, and 4 Eastern Archers. As we've seen numerous times before, bringing at least a light cav unit, now in combination with a Pontic Royal cav for a sturdy Saliot combo. Alright, welcome once again to Eldon and this Rome 2 Total War siege battle that sees Rome, Carthage, and Epirus attack Pontus, Bactria, and Odrissia. These factions have been random rolled and divvied up depending on how good the factions are. So the best factions are in attack, and then the rest are on defense. We got some interesting choices, which usually is the case when we do random rolls, and Odrissian Kingdom and Rome, for instance, is factions we don't really see that often. We see a Carthaginian cav responding to the Pontic Royal cav that is now moving up in front of the settlement. They're setting up and they're letting everyone know that they're here. The attackers are shooting, trying to get a breach in the wall. More specifically, trying to get that breach. And as they're shooting, the defenders are sending out cav units to kind of keep these attackers on their toes. Keep them a little distracted and delay their advance up towards the walls. And Pontic Royal Cav is an extremely capable cav unit that can cause some serious issues if it's not countered correctly, and this Carthaginian cav is just not going to be enough to deter that whole very heavy shock cav. And so the attackers are going to have to figure out a different way to counter these Pontic Royal Cavs. And they're not alone, are they? Because there is a Celtic Light Horse just waiting for its chance, along with a Hellenic Cataphract unit that is also hidden so far from the attackers. There's a lot of value in those three cav units, so the defender's main task at this point is to extract that value from the attackers as well. Make sure those cav units are worth it. Carthage is indeed a little bit distracted here, it seems, and I just spotted something else here. Even more cav. We have Thracian horsemen hidden deep into the forest in the very corner here, and no doubt they're gonna come out later in the battle and cause quite a confusion. Where did those horses come from? I'm excited about this. This is gonna be a really fun one. I just want to thank all the hardcore viewers for the great response to these last few videos, and for watching these videos. Thanks, guys, and I do appreciate it. If you do want to help out, just send this video to someone who you think would be interested in these types of videos. Someone I don't know, someone who has not seen them before. That helps in so many ways, and I just really appreciate that. Also, keep sending in these replays, because the last replay was just phenomenal, and it's so much more fun commentating when I'm not in the actual battle and know the actual battle outcome. So I am commentating this without knowing how this is gonna go, and I do prefer doing it that way, because it's just a lot more exciting for me, and I feel like it's creating a little bit of a better viewing experience as well. It looks like the attackers are going for a bigger hole in the wall to get two corners taken down here, which will mean that this giant ballista will be completely out of ammo, because they're at 75% now, and I can't imagine they have that much left. So they'll get two breaches, but then they won't be able to shoot anything else. Pontic Royal Cav is moving in, while the Celtic Light Horse is taking its place outside of the walls. It is very important to keep your eyes open on this mini map for enemy units that are trying to sneak around, that are trying to hide. Attackers have already been put on the defense a little bit here. Defenders applying some pressure, making sure that they're on their toes, making sure that they're not going to relax, making sure that they're going to take a little longer moving up all these towers. And we also see that the wall art is starting to fire now, and it is firing it into Cretan archers, which is definitely not a bad call. These Cretans can cause some serious issues, but they do have a line here that is ripe for, oh my god. Whoa. Ooh-wee. Yeah, these Libyan infantry better get the heck out of town here, because they are getting munched up by this artillery. Luckily though, the attackers did spot that and are now moving one of the Libyan infantry units, the one that did get shot at the most. So they did lose a fair amount of Libyan infantry here. Wall art getting a really nice little value subtracted from the attackers. Total troops here. As the Hastati are probing the front line here with the Celtic warriors a little bit, and are now moving in, trying to get a little bit of Pila out and trying to start this attack. Establishing themselves on this breach here, which, if you didn't know, is the only breach that is actually outside of both of these towers' range. Sorry, that tower's range. And so we can see here, it is lining up perfectly in order to be able to go in without being shot by an arrow tower. So good call from the attackers attacking that specific corner. And we also have a landing of Hastati that is now being challenged by Hellenic Cataphracts, and we see a full sally out here from Bactria, a very aggressive sally out. The Cataphracts are getting into Gallic warriors that are not going to be able to stand a chance against these very heavy shock cav. And Hellenic Cataphracts are just going to munch down here. We have a response in the form of a Libyan infantry that is trying to catch up, get these Cataphracts who have already gotten 31 kills and not even close to one death. The Bactrian Royal Cav is also out, and defenders are going all in on this sally, which means these attackers are going to have to be agile. They're going to have to be very, very quick to react here. And we also see a legionary cohort boosting up this Hastati a little bit against Pontic swords, and now came in, and we see some cycle charging from these Celtic warriors. Great job. Also a battle rhythm on them. That's a nice call. I like that a lot. Let's see if that helps. It does help, because these Celtic warriors are now killing legionary cohort and Hastati like it's nobody's business. Another cycle charge. Beautiful. And Pontic swords ×2 are now in there trying to grind down these legionary cohorts. Another cycle charge, and defenders are really hungry for some blood here. This sally out has kind of put everyone on their toes, but it has slowed down a little bit. We also have the Pontic Royal Cav out here now, roaming around as the light horse is slowly moving up on the flank here. So it looks like Rome abandoned their towers, which means that they much faster could move up and join their allies by the walls. Since we do have these, now the Thracian horsemen are moving as well, and since these towers are back here now, Rome is going to focus 100% through this breach, not bother with any towers landing on the wall, which could hurt them certainly. We also see the defenders now keeping up this cycling, which is really nice to see. Pontic swords are going to struggle against Evocati cohort, against legionary cohort, but cycle charging them like this while the attackers are not able to do that is going to help them out for sure. Attackers are gaining a little bit of a bubble as we see them now push the Pontic defense out in a little bit of a half circle here. And we also see the Pila coming in, and that is also really important to get out on these heavy melee units in the Evocati cohort and the legionary cohort. And Celtic warriors have done great, and these cycle charges really has made them excel against these much more expensive troops. As we see the Evocati cohort charging into a Pontic sword that did not charge back. Let's see if we can get a counter charge on the other side. We do not. We see them peeling though, and I think that's their main purpose right now, but not charging back at these units are going to hurt these Pontic swords that are losing decisively and will continue to lose decisively unless something is done here. These Cretans have found a target in the form of the Pontic swords showing their sides. And Cav keeps creeping up closer and closer. I know these Thracian horsemen were spotted before. I wonder if they know that they're come up a little closer. Question is if this Celtic light horse has been spotted, because these Romans are facing the wrong way. So chances are that it was not spotted, but they're not going to be able to do much in the backs here anyway, being such a light unit. Their target is most likely guaranteed these Cretan archers from Carthage primarily, but probably also if they can get in on the other archers. Hellenic cataphracts are moving up and around also, and the attack continues in the breach. The Pontic swords have been mopped up by these Evocati cohort. Since they did get that charge, they did have a very, very good advantage, and now they're getting another charge into a Pontic sword that does not charge back. And although the Pontic swords are getting their pila out and are getting some nice side shots in the shield side here, they do need to charge back at these legionary cohort who come in and they're peeling down, and they're gonna charge in and get an excellent engagement, although they are tired. So Roman general needs to come up here and second wind his troops, which it does look like no, that was a shield wall. There we go. Battle rhythm popped on the legionary cohort, and a second wind on the bigger legionary cohort that was also getting tired. We now see attacker archers getting in and getting aggressive here, trying to break down this first wave, the first line of defense by the arrow tower, which has also been neutralized now and stopped shooting at the attackers. Defenders are closing up and threatening the attackers as they're setting up, as they're trying to get in on the breach, pushing closer, closer, and closer. And this lone Carthaginian cav is going to have issues against all of this very heavy shot cav. The attackers are doing really well getting into this settlement fast and pushing up their troops as close as possible to the walls, because otherwise there is a huge chance that you're going to get picked off, focused down by one of these cav units that will for sure have backup within a couple of seconds once they've spotted a weakness. So good job from the attackers moving up fast, and now we see this Pontic swords breaking and another one struggling to do anything against these very good Roman troops. Libyan infantry is joining the front line here, and we have a Gallic warrior landing next to the tower, but we don't have another unit over here yet because these Bactrian units have closed in a little bit too much for Carthage liking, so they're not gonna push up any more towers there most likely. But the front line is looking a little better for the defenders as they get reinforced by a Thracian warrior and a thorax source, and that Thracian warrior is getting their charge in. And they're gonna start killing now because they did not get a counter charge, and these Thracian warriors are absolutely thriving when they get that charge bonus off. They're starting to drop a little now. Now is the time to move them back out again. And we'll see if Adricia is on his toes here and stays agile and dynamic throughout this battle, because he will need to with these Thracian warriors. Adricia, who have also gone in with their Thracian nobles, an even better unit to get a charge in on these Evocati cohort, who are losing, falling fast, but they're backed up by a Samnite warrior who is now peeling a Pontic swords in the back. Pontic swords trying to wrap around these Romans. Samnite warriors is a very sturdy unit. Has already got 53 kills from Pila and probably some Pontic swords earlier on. We also see an exchange of Pila from the front line, and these Thracian bowmen trying to get in, and Eastern archers also shooting these Samnites frontally. And honestly, these Samnites can be shot frontally all day. These Eastern archers better find a little softer target, as we see the Thracian nobles moving back and getting peeled in the ass a little bit here. 140 of them. They killed 90 Evocati cohort, and they got to be pleased with that. Fall them back, get them into safety, and Pontic general staying close for these general abilities. And as we do have a rule that says you cannot snipe the general unless he's in combat, this general is indeed safe this close to the front line, if you are wondering. Carthage is putting up a little bit more of a sturdy line here, maybe considering moving up these towers, in which case they will need to be defended. But there is cav units surrounding every single part of this attack. Rome with their 4 legionary cohort standing, guarding their own Syrians. Syrians who are shooting into the Eastern Archers. Eastern Archers are not gonna have a good time there and are rightly so moving back a little bit. Celtic warriors are doing it really good. Have charged in on these Libyan infantry, have probably just been standing there taking it, and we have another thorax moving up to boost up and beef up this front line a little bit as we see more shots from the Syrians into defending Syrians from Bactria. Nice charge from the Hastati into a Pontic sword, and these Hastati getting that charge are going to have a much better time now in an engagement that would be a bad one for them if it wasn't for that charge. Much cheaper unit that ultimately is going to extract a lot of value from these Pontic swords now. Pontic swords setting up a shield wall, but since they didn't really engage in these troops, they're still not going to kill that many, and they will stop the attackers from moving closer, but that will be about it. As these Thracian bowmen are firing into Hastati's side, shield side. Not the best target, I gotta say. There are much more expensive and harder troops to kill than that. So see if they keep doing that or if they wisen up and stop shooting the Hastati. Cretan archers are moving around along with a Balearic slinger that looked like it was gonna get up on the walls, but we do have a tower that has been burnt down here. Attackers probably don't want to take the chance, or it could have been the defenders, honestly, who are looking ahead a little bit from when the attackers can push them back here. That tower will not be an issue, and fire into the defenders instead. Thracian warriors with 2 chevrons, prime target for these archers who are focusing on Persian lights on the other side, and a Syrian archer. This front line is a brawl and a half. We have a thorax swords losing decisively, another one who's barely in combat, one combat even against Evocati Corps, 96 kills. These thorax have 111, 169, 79. Pontic swords, 61 kills, and then Celtic warriors 112. So defenders are doing well against superior troops here. Thorax swords are definitely going to do okay here, and we have another Thraea spear moving up and getting some pretty decent sword side shots into this Evocati cohort that is losing men fast. Down to 70 now, and these Thraeas have just started. They haven't. They've actually killed quite a bit already, so they're probably close to being out of ammo. And we have another cycle charge from the Celtic warriors into the Evocati. Engagement outside of the walls now, as well as the thorax swords have moved up, and the Bactrian hillmen standing by ready to get in. This means that the cav is about to go in, and yes indeed, Bactrian Royal Cav right into these Gallic warriors who are not going to stand a chance here. And we have Thracian horsemen also coming in, creating chaos. The Carthaginian general is trying to help here, but we already see Cretan archers falling left and right, and we have Hellenic cataphracts coming up from the other side into another set of Cretan archers, and attackers are now struggling to keep track of all these cav units that are roaming around in their ranks. They're trying their best with the Carthaginian cav, getting 43 kills so far, and some Libyan infantry also, but these archers are in danger now. Hellenic cataphracts not really getting a charge in, but being attacked in the rear a little bit, are still gonna stand up very well against this Carthaginian cav, losing decisively. And cataphracts are probably gonna cause these archers a lot of issues, as we see the general's bodyguard from Carthage trying to back the Carthaginian cav up, the Pontic Royal cav charging into the sides or into the backs of the legionary cohort. And this legionary cohort is not standing in formation anymore, which means it's free to just run right through and into the Libyan infantry in the backs. And Hellenic cataphracts are struggling now because they have been countercharged by infantry and the Balearic slingers and Cretan archers. Although they are losing many of them, might actually stand a chance now as Hellenic cataphracts are losing more and more troops. Roman general are now getting in, trying to repel these Pontic Royal Cav. The cav units are falling one by one, and we have the mercenary light horse also with 46 kills. The defenders did get a lot of archers out of the way here, and that is something that's going to be really crucial in this battle. But at what cost? How much did these cav units cost? Was it enough archers they managed to kill, or will all that value put into cav units punish the defenders? As we see the front line struggling from the defenders here, Thorax losing decisively as the Romans keep pushing with Evocati cohort and Legionary cohort. We see a second wind popped on a very depleted Thorax, probably gonna struggle to stay alive. A Pontic swords winning against an Evocati cohort, and more Pila coming in from Thorax swords. Mercenary Italian swordsmen are slowly moving up, taking all that Pila, and it's not a bad unit to sacrifice for Pila, honestly. So if it is on purpose, then good on you. Persian lights are getting into these remaining Cretans now that are struggling. These Cretans are just not having a good time this battle, and the few remaining archer units that we have left here is all of the Roman Syrians seem to have done good. Epirus Cretans have moved in and seem pretty healthy too. So it was mainly Carthage who was the target of this sally out, and left with a 29 Cretans, another 34 Cretans, and these troops out here are now getting focused down hard by defending archers. Libyan infantry being shot in the backs, and they're not going to be in this battle for much longer. Defenders have decided to punish Carthage for staying a little bit longer than his allies outside of the walls. Rome and Epirus have moved in most of their troops. Most of their archers are in safety inside of the walls, and we see two Samnite warriors getting into Pontic swords over here. Pontic swords are holding for now, but they're going to struggle against these much better units with 143 and 51 left. So this one mercenary Samnite is getting a little depleted, and we have to see some reinforcements here from Royal Peltasts or backing up from the Cretans as far as support fire goes. And these Thracian bowmen have decided to start shooting into the Samnite warrior, which isn't the worst, even though they are very heavily armored. Still a very good troop to get rid of. So not the best because of the armor, but definitely good because of the value that they are attached to. And I actually saw a Thracian warrior move out here too. The defenders getting a little frisky and trying to really take advantage of the chaos that was created by these cav units. And I gotta say, it's always entertaining to see these sally outs, but I also am unsure if it is worth it most of the time. And these archers were in a bit of a pickle here because the legionary cohort almost caught up to them, but now there's a Thracian noble about to charge in on the legionary cohort, and no, they didn't really get a good charge, but they are still winning decisively. And with this melee attack, they almost hit every single swing with these big blades, and the legionary cohort is going to die a horrible death over there. Perhaps they moved up a little bit too soon in pursuit of these archers, and now the legionary cohort is going to be sacrificed. Roman general was getting a little risky there. Try to maybe back up the legionary cohort, is now being pushed back by the Pontic swordsman general. And we also see Syrians getting into melee, which is a little interesting, but they could be out of ammo, or it could be that they were just following. They still have ammo. They were just probably following some defending archers, trying to shoot them, and then ending up in the front line as a result. Thorax swords over here have Pelad these Sam Knights down to a 78 now, and the other depleted unit at 30. Again, Epirus needs to back up this front line, and we see Eastern archers getting some nice shots into an unaware Epirus archer group here, with Cretan archers that are just taking fire right now. And these Cretans are actually going to be gone from the battle if they don't react pretty soon. So Eastern archers are getting so much value, are really taking advantage of Epirus not paying attention to his main flank here, instead probably paying attention to this lone Sam Knight on the front line, or perhaps somewhere else. Maybe Epirus is even AFK, who knows. But this is not good, because the Cretan archers are disappearing slowly, and Carthage is trying to get some shots in here desperately to get some value out of his poor Cretans, or Balearic slingers, that ultimately did survive that aggressive sally, but are looking pretty sad with their 56 men. They still have quite a lot of ammo though, so they still can make a difference here. Epirus did lose quite a few Cretans. They still have a javelin men on the wall here, but they lost a full unit of Cretans and another 35 in another unit, along with 4 in the third. So good job by Pontus spotting the lack of attention here by Epirus and getting in on some very valuable archer troops. Pontus is now falling back. The defenders are letting the attackers roam in here now, and how long are they going to beef this front line up now? How long are they going to hold here before they also fall back from this main line? Pontic general is committed. Battle rhythm has been popped with 61 kills against Evocati cohort exhausted and legionary cohort winded, and Libyan infantry and mercenary Gallic warriors. These Pontics are in a bit of a rough situation here because they're not going to do well against either of those troops, basically just a Gallic. But the Thracian nobles are getting a charge into the sides here of these troops, and they can actually cause some serious issues despite being tired here. They're also getting into Syrian archers that have been thrown in as a sacrificial lamb or something. Perhaps in order to save the legionary cohort with 94 of them left, who would have been in trouble by these Thracian nobles that are at 260 kills and 123 of them left. They've been getting some really good charges, and the Roman general is desperately trying to find some archers to get into, feeling that pressure since the defenders did kill most of the attacking archers from Carthage. The attackers are now feeling like they need to even out the odds a little bit. These Thracian nobles are exhausted and are now starting to lose a little bit, but they have almost 300 kills, but they are now enveloped by a Libyan infantry and are surrounded on all sides. These other Libyans got a nice charge in, and now these Thracian nobles are going to drop like flies because they don't have any melee defense. But with 307 kills and counting, I think they're going to be okay with losing that unit. Thracian warriors and thorax swords and archers are moving back, and I do believe the defenders are preparing for a last stand in the victory point. And as we reach this kind of midway through the advance here, who do you guys think are gonna take this victory? Write it down in the comments below and see if you can guess. This victory point is not the easiest to defend, even though it does have some advantageous qualities to it, such as being able to snipe off enemy troops as they move by. But don't forget that there's also this Thracian Bastion Ballista, and if they turn that around, they can get some super nice shots into this blob of migrating troops that are trying to go around and in from this side into the victory point. Meanwhile, on the other side, I think Carthage and Rome are kind of taking a breather right now and counting their troops, getting a bit of a tally of how the status is, as the Bactrian Royal Cav is waiting to get in, coming in at 133 kills as a result of that early sally out. All these Royal Peltasts bunched up like this, and mercenary Cretan archers are just not having a great time against these Eastern archers that cost so much less and are just really seeing a lot of value. Eastern archers doing great to get in here, and I wonder if these Cretans are now going to be gone from this battle. It does look like it. Although standing a little bit in water will be in their favor, but it's just not going to be enough, and they're standing in a low ground. One of them basically out, the other one is going to be next. Rome is moving up on this right side again, which means the attackers are committing to one flank only. The Bactrian Royal Cav starting to get aggressive and starting to corral these attacking troops into that northern side of the map. Southern side of the map. Bactrian Royal Cav now in combat and engaging these Libyan infantry. I don't think they're going to want to stay in that combat, although they did do okay and almost broke one of them. Now the mercenary Syrians and Persian Lights are going to get some excellent back shots into these troops that are now chasing the general. Even more confusion in the ranks for the attackers, and the defenders have done well creating this chaos with their cav and aggressive pushing out, corralling these attacking troops. Bactria specifically has no interest in letting these attackers pushing up on this side, and is getting really aggressive with their thorax swords. One of them with 200 kills, so well done for getting that. And the migration continues. Epirus showing their backs, getting absolutely taken advantage of by Pontus, who has been hungry with his archers all battle and is now getting some nice high cost kills in these Royal Peltasts that have been migrating mainly and not really fighting yet. They're mostly on or around 0 to 50 kills. Rome is pushing up some depleted units to possibly take some of this Pila, and we do have some very aggressive Thracian warriors and nobles standing, getting ready to charge in on the attack here. Oh, now I see why the Odrysian Wallard did not fire, because they do have a Scorpion with 102 kills, which means they're not going to use this ballista, since they would be over the limit. They probably brought it by mistake and placed it in the back. Just told the attackers we're not going to use it. We had one RD too much. This Scorpion counts as their one RD, so the rules were one RD, one pike, 4 missile troops. Thracian Nobles getting closer to these legionary cohorts. We're now backing off, and I think attackers have evened out the odds here. Sorry, the defenders have evened out the odds here, because the defenders are indeed the yellow here. So attackers were heavily in favor as far as balance of power goes, but now defenders have taken back some of that balance by shooting up from their high position down into migrating troops. Well done, and not the least to the Scorpion 2 managing to get 102 kills, probably high value kills. Oh no, Javelin men are getting into a thorax swords now that is trying desperately to clip them. They did get 8 kills, and the thorax swords is running, trying to catch up, but the Illyrian levies are going to stand in its ways as the Javelin men will move behind. We still have Thracian bowmen with a lot of ammo, and although these Eastern archers most likely are starting to run out. Nope, that one still does have ammo. As does this. No, this one is out. Okay. One of the Eastern archers for sure out. this one as well. So Eastern archers are looking a little depleted now, but they've done excellent. They've done really well and should be happy with their kill to death ratio so far against superior enemy archers. Defenders are starting to line up and shape their final line of defense. So far only a couple of units standing, kind of inviting the attackers to let's go in, there's archers, you should attack here, in which case they will start charging down this. And now we see Pontic Ballista starting to fire. It has not fired that much, and it is getting in on these blobs now. Will be interesting to see what they can do. As the artillery is shooting into this blob, we see the attackers moving up, trying to get in and trying to get rid of these opportunities for artillery shots. And Thracian warriors are lining up. The Thracian bowmen are firing into some Libyan infantry, or is it maybe the Royal Peltasts? Artillery keeps firing, but they're not going to have very much angle or very much opportunity to fire once the attackers have moved up, which is why they're pushing as much as they can. We have an engagement now. Royal Peltasts have pot whip, and a fresh unit with 40 kills have now started chomping down these Libyan infantry, and we have a Thracian noble that are taking over after these Thracian warriors. They got a nice charge in, and there's another good charge in to these Libyan infantry, and we have an African pikeman unit that can come in now and make a big difference towards the end. Maybe thorax swords winning decisively against this legionary cohort, and Royal Peltasts starts firing into the Thracian nobles. 178 kills, and 127 of them left are now getting focused down by Royal Peltasts, and the artillery keeps shooting. Another Royal Peltast that has now been charged by a Pontic swords. Pontic swords now getting into the side of this pikeman, and Thracian nobles are not going to have a good time trying to fight this pikeman, and probably going to want to move back at this point. Thracian warriors, another unit, is trying to move around these pikes, and Royal Peltasts keeps firing into the Thracian nobles, but they're now already 200 kills. And both these Thracian noble units that we've seen so far has done an excellent job. African pikemen are getting into a different type of position here. They have 22 kills only, are getting focused down pretty heavily by Thracian bowmen right now. And another Thracian noble unit fresh, getting ready to be tossed in here. Thracian warrior winning decisively, having a battle rhythm popped also. Thracian nobles up here taking fire, probably should not have been fired on, since they are not in combat yet. Does not seem like these Empress Royal Peltasts give a hoot about that, so let's see if they stop firing or if they keep firing into the general unit that has lost 20 almost. And backtrain Royal Cav seem to have gotten through and are trying their best to get into these javelin men, but the javelin men have Pila left and just slayed all of this backtrain Royal Cav in one volley. So Backtrain General is out of the battle. Thracian bowmen keep firing into these African pikemen, and the Pontic Swords General is now charged down, countercharged by the General's bodyguard from Carthage. And we have Syrian archers, probably without ammo, lining up now, prepared to get into melee, as there are not very many troops left. We still have a Thracian noble with 2 chevrons standing, waiting for its opportunity to charge in. Same with the general. Thracian noble has yet to be introduced to the battle, and Thracian bowmen are now routing this pikemen off this map in this battle. And the attackers are engaged with a depleted Royal Peltasts, are now getting backed up by another 1, 2, 3 Royal Peltasts left, and of course a 4th over here standing, waiting for this Thracian warrior to do what it needs to do. And the Balearic Slingers are very capable of killing that Thracian warrior fast. So Attackers looking like they have a bit of an edge here, although the balance of power is looking very even so far. There's a lot of archers for the defenders that could skew that a little bit. And now the Royal Peltasts, depleted Royal Peltasts, are falling, and they're gonna die when this Thracian noble charges in, and the Thracian noble general has now entered the battle as well with 14 kills, 15 kills. Or is it going to charge more? No, it backs off, and the incoming Royal Peltasts are going to have to be dealt with by another unit. We do have the Pontic swordsmen charging into them, trying to stop them. The Thracian noble does want to get back a little bit and maybe get another charge in. Meanwhile, these Royal Peltasts are slicing up this thorax swords in shield wall, standing and not being engaged, and we have another Thracian warrior charge into these Royal Peltasts, who are still standing up okay, but are going to start falling a little bit as this Thracian warrior is coming in. And we have another side charge by the mercenary Syrians, and we have 2 Royal Peltasts out of 4 in melee right now. Illyrian levies are standing, waiting for their chance to perhaps get in also. The remaining 2 Royal Peltasts are moving up, getting closer, and on one of the flanks, Royal Peltasts are doing really well. On the other one, they are losing, and this unit is now down to 96, as the Thracian nobles with 228 kills did pop headhunt, but are now disengaging, so they're kind of wasting that headhunt with 104 melee attack. Are they going to get another charge in with that high melee attack? No, they're probably not, and we do see that headhunt being wasted. Little small details that can make a huge difference in the end when the margins are as slim as they are in this battle. Illyrian levies coming up, trying to beef up this line a little bit, make sure that Peltas isn't getting charged by Thracian nobles, as it has been. And we have Thracian bowmen kind of sacrificing, just standing as the Illyrian levies also charge into the Thracian noble. Thracian noble are doing quite well so far, but they're going to start falling also, unless they're going to get another charge in here. And the general Thracian noble is indeed lining up for another charge. Who are they going to charge into? Probably this Royal Peltast that is chewing up some thorax swords. No, it's not, because we have a Thracian warrior in trouble down there with 190 kills, and the Thracian noble general are going down. They're going down to charge into the Royal Peltast with 83 men. There's a Royal Peltast general getting ready to back this up. Illyrian levies are fleeing. Another Thracian noble are doing are starting to lose against the Royal Peltast up here. It's now getting charged by Pontic swords. General Royal Peltast is charging into the Thracian nobles, who have been winning decisively against the Royal Peltast, but are now going to start falling because they have been charged and they have no melee defense to talk about. So we're going to have to see some backup from the archers, the Syrians, and the Thracian bowmen, and the Persian lights. Persian lights are wrapping around, perhaps trying to get a back charge in to get that attacked in the back debuff, and there's a headhunt yet again on a Thracian noble. This Thracian noble has a melee attack that is going to be very high now. The Royal Peltast just pop whip, but there's not enough melee defense to handle the blows from the Royal Peltast, so the Thracian noble is going to start falling pretty fast, pretty soon. As we'll see, Persian archers coming in, Assyrian archers coming in, and wrapping around also into these javelin men that have been munching up the Persian lights. But now we have Pontic swordsmen moving into the javelin men, and the Thracian noble is charging into the backs of the general, or of the Royal Peltast standing fighting the thorax. Royal Peltast is following, charging into the backs of the Thracian nobles, who did get a couple of kills there. Now we only have archers left from the defenders to maneuver with, as they do have their Thracian nobles in battle along with the thorax swords. And it's looking pretty bleak for the defenders right now. Although the Pontic swords are mopping up the javelin men, these Royal Peltasts are just too strong. They are losing decisively right now, but how long is that going to happen on this? How long is that going to last on this side? I don't know. The Royal Peltast general is moving back now, getting into the Pontic swords general that is just not going to be able to do anything about that. And we have a bit of a wavering going on here now with the Royal Peltasts that were attacked in the back. fleeing from the battlefield, and the Thracian noble general losing slightly, but with the help of the Syrian archers, it actually defeated the Royal Peltasts that charged into its back. We have a Royal Peltasts 49, another with 92 against Thracian noble with 21, a bunch of archers, and a Thracian noble general that is losing, but is gonna start going for the high ground, gonna go behind that thorax and maybe charge into these Royal Peltasts yet again. The Thracian nobles are lining up, getting behind, starting to get a little better angle into the Royal Peltasts. Thorax swordsmen charged into Royal Peltasts general, trying to hold them down, and defenders are now focusing on this lone Royal Peltasts with 25, getting charged from all sides by Syrian archers and Thracian nobles, and it's now going to start falling as the other Royal Peltasts is winning easily against Thorax swords and Thracian bowmen and Syrian archers. They're now going to be in trouble because there's a Thracian noble charging into its back. There's another Thracian warrior also charging into the backs, along with a Syrian archer. Now these Royal Peltasts are fighting so many units at once. There's 77 of them left. Combat even instead of winning now. And they're going to start struggling pretty soon if they're going to start cycle charging, which they are. The Thracian nobles are heading out, loading up another charge into the backs of these Royal Peltasts, winning decisively against the Thorax swords, and charging down into the Thracian nobles, which is a good thing, because otherwise that would not have gone well. They are winning slightly, but they're exhausted now because the whip just expired. Exhausted, losing slightly. They did get a charge, but they're going to get counter-charged. They're going to get charged in the backs. These Thracian nobles are now losing, except for the general still winning with 3 chevrons, and this Royal Peltasts is now down at 35, losing, and the battle is won for the defenders. What an intense ending that was. So many good charges from the Thracian nobles, good cycle charging, nice maneuvering into the backs of the attackers. Defenders did an excellent job with their early sally that put a lot of pressure on the attackers to move up fast. Carthage did not quite get their archers in, and they got gobbled up by the enemy cav. We had a Hellenic cataphract, Bactrian royal cav from Bactria. We had the 2 Thracian horse from Adrisia, and we had Pontic royal cav and Celtic light horse from Pontus getting in. For the attackers, Epirus did pretty well here. 5 Royal Peltasts that ultimately all did really well. The Samnite warriors also did extremely well against Thorax swords mainly. Gallic warriors did what they could, but ultimately struggled against Thracian warriors on the wall. The Eastern archers did great, and the Thracian nobles won the battle single-handedly towards the end by cycle charging in and out of Royal Peltasts. General coming in at 233, and then another one, a silver chevron with 391. Another with 349, and one that was nuked early on, 36 kills only. Thracian warriors did well also. Thanks so much for sending this replay in, and please do send more replays of epic siege battles for me to cover. And if you do want to help out, send this video to someone you know who has not seen these videos that would like to see these videos. It really does help, and if you enjoy this video, make sure you tap that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.